Good morning. Morning. We'll get started in a little bit. Let's wait and see if more people can join us. All right, guys, we're going to get started. So just maybe mute your background because there's a lot of feedback. That'd be great. All right, well, I'm recording this session just to let you know for the faculty that can't join us. Can everyone hear me? Okay. I'm still hearing a lot of background. Okay. So as you know, we have a bunch of interns this spring. I think my count right now is we have a total of 107 interns for this spring and counting. This spring semester is going to be very different for all of us. So some of our interns have secured face-to-face internship sites. Well, and it's going to be a typical internship. They're going to go to their site, they're going to work their hours, they're going to report to you. That will be standard. However, some sites that initially agreed to work with our students might not be able to give them the full credit hours that they're assigned to do. And we cannot fail them because they don't have those hours. So if your student is doing a full face-to-face typical internship, if they cannot acquire the full 125 hours or more, you are going to have to assign them additional assignments to work on that will equal hours worked. So you're going to have to be very lenient, and you're going to have to communicate very, very, very closely with your interns all semester. Now, some of you are going to be assigned interns that did not secure a face-to-face internship. A lot of our OT students worked really, really hard to find a internship site that would work with them, but many, many OT sites were not willing to work with our students because of COVID-19. So they are doing a complete remote internship, a completely full remote internship in the spring. And so their syllabus and what they're required to do is going to be very different from our face-to-face interns. So I'm in this meeting going to go over both types of syllabi. I'm going to go over all the requirements. If you think you've heard this before, you can leave. But a couple things have changed. If you haven't had interns in a while, a couple things have changed. So hopefully you'll stay on for the duration. And if you have any questions, please stop me. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I don't want to go too quick, but if I'm going too quick, just stop and let me know. How do you know which interns you have? Well, I'm pretty sure that you have been assigned your interns. You can email Craig and ask if they are remote. You could email me. Or I think the simplest thing for you to do is to contact all of your interns and ask them. Ask them if they're doing a face-to-face internship or ask them if they're doing a remote internship. I think that's the easiest way. And that's good because you're starting communication with them already. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. We're going to start with a regular face-to-face internship. think this is the correct one. Sorry. So hopefully you can see my screen. I have emailed all of you a template for a regular face-to-face internship. You get to, make a few corrections, put your information on there, put on there what you want to do. Your information should be up top. I think it's smart for you to put your Zoom ID number in there and your password just in case they want to contact you at all through the semester. Do not change anything about the course prereqs. Please do not change anything about the purpose of the course. You'll notice down here, our students can do a typical 3-credit internship. That means they have to do 125 hours. You might have interns, though, that are doing a 4-credit, a 5-credit, or a 6-credit internship. So if they are doing 4 credits, they are required to do 165 hours. If it's a 5-credit, they have to do 205. And if it's a 6-credit, they're doing 250. So double check, look on your My WCU, check your interns, and look and see how many credits they have registered to take. You know the course schedule. It is between your student and their site supervisor to discuss how they're going to accomplish the hours. So you might have an intern who gets all of their hours done in the month of February. Good for them. They are allowed to do that. You might have some interns that will take the entire semester to do all of their hours. So the schedule is agreed upon between the student and their site supervisor. They need to communicate with you what they're doing, but really their schedule is between their boss and themselves. Don't change anything about the student learning outcomes. Basically, it's a capstone experience. So they should be utilizing all performance domains and associated student learning outcomes to accomplish their internship. So I wouldn't change anything about any of that. Down here, feel free to adjust. We are going to do the same thing we've always done. Your interns must be evaluated by their site supervisors, not you. Their site supervisors, and they have to be evaluated twice. So during the period, they will evaluate their work 2 times. They will do the midterm evaluation when they've done about half of their hours, and then they're going to do the final evaluation when they're pretty much all done. Now, it is the student's responsibility to ensure that their site supervisor has received the evaluation link. It is your responsibility to send it to them. So we no longer have hard copies of these evaluations. Karen has not emailed or mailed any evaluation form to anyone. We have a link. We have a link that I'm going to send to all of you after this meeting. And it is a Qualtrics survey. And it's an awesome Qualtrics survey because it really is specific to their discipline. I'll show you the survey in a second. But really, you should, when I email you this link, bookmark it, save it, know it, and then you are responsible for sending it to the site supervisor. So I told my students that they really need to email me their site supervisor's name. They need to email me their site supervisor's email address. And they do need to make sure their site supervisor is checking their spam folder. I've been doing interns for a long time, and for some reason, our Westchester emails go to spam folders. So you got to communicate and say, hey, I'm sending your boss, I'm sending your site supervisor the link. Make sure they get my email. Make sure they're looking in their spam folder because they do have to complete that. Now, it is the same link for midterm and final, but we do want them completing them when they're about halfway done and when they're all done. So any questions about the evaluation? Unmute yourself if you have a question about the evaluation. So what's great about the Qualtrics survey is you will have—
I have one question, Missy, sorry.
Go ahead.
How will we get the evaluation grade back so we can put it into our calculations?
Yes, you need to make sure that you get in touch with Stephanie Keenel. She has put the whole thing on Qualtrics, and you need to have a Qualtrics account. You need to be able to go into your Qualtrics account, find all of your students, and you can just, it's really simple. You click on it, it says download PDF, and you're gonna get a whole copy of the evaluation form, and then you can score it. Now, what's great about putting all of these evals in one spot is I too need access for them. I need to see these final evaluations for both assessment and for our accreditation. So it's nice that they all go in one spot. If you really can't get a Qualtrics link or account set up, I can always download all of them for you and send them to you, but it's pretty simple. If you get in touch with Stephanie, she can hook you up with the Qualtrics account and how to access everything. So I will stop here for 1 second and show you what the survey looks like.
Miss, can I ask you a
Yep.
question?
Mm-hmm.
What about the virtual students?
I'm gonna do virtual after I do face.
Oh, okay.
So
All
just
right.
give me 1 minute. So I'm gonna
Okay.
share my screen, which I'm so awful at doing this. And hopefully you're seeing, just kidding, hold on. So here, can you guys see, it says Westchester University at the top? Okay, guys, so this will be the link that the site supervisor will get. And they're gonna type in their student intern's name, they're gonna type in the site, they're gonna type in their name, they're gonna type in, how many weeks and how many hours. And then they will select midterm or final, right? So you will know which one is the midterm, you will know which one is the final, but it's the same survey. And then the first section is all about attendance and how punctual they are. Another section is about professionalism. After that, though, they're gonna click on the discipline. So we have different disciplines. Now, some students might have maybe a nutrition internship, some might not fit any of these molds. I would just obviously pick maybe the most standard one, which is a fitness specialist, or let me know and we'll figure something out. But once they click on the discipline, it will take you to discipline specific questions. So we are meeting the standard of our accreditation, but we're also meeting our standard of we want to know how well they're doing in their own discipline. So this is a great survey. All you have to do, all you need to do is email them the link. I do not want you to send this to your student. Students should never, ever, ever have access to this link. Okay, so don't be lazy and say, here, send this to your advisor or send this to your boss. No. Don't do that, okay? They cannot have access to this because we can't have them filling out their own evaluations. That would be really bad. So this is something you keep hidden. You don't tell your students about it. Do not put it on D2L. Do not put it on your syllabus. Don't do it. You bookmark it and you send it to all of your site supervisors. Okay, questions? Do not give it to your students.
I'm sorry, can you say it once more?
Do not give it to your students. Thank you, Brian. I want to make sure you understand. Go ahead, Mitch. Do you have a question?
Yeah, how do the students get their feedback, their grades?
So again, once the midterm is filled out or the final is filled out, you can send them the PDF file. So you can show it to them. However, I would encourage your site, like when you email the link to your site supervisors, I would encourage the site supervisors to have a conversation with them, right? So normally, in the olden days, like last year, when you would go visit your interns, you would sit down with your intern, you would sit down with their site supervisor, and you'd have a conversation about how they're doing, all face to face. So I'm still hoping that our sites are sitting down with our students and letting them know how they're evaluating them. So I don't think it should be a shock to our students how they're getting evaluated, but I guess it's up to you. Once it's all done, you can send them the PDF file. So it's a very simple thing to download. Thanks. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the syllabus if I can find it, which I probably can't because I have a gazillion things. All right, so again, you can put, when you want them to email you, you don't have to, but that's 40 points of their grade. The next thing is they do have to email you, I don't want to say email. They have to have weekly communication with you. That's 15 points of their grade. So I want them to send me their weekly log. That's their communication. I don't have that many interns, so I'm gonna probably have them just upload it to D2L. You can do what you want, depending on how many interns you have, but you have to get something from them each week. So it could be just a quick email saying I had a great week at my internship. You could have them email you their logs. I don't care. but you need to communicate with them weekly. And that's 15 points of their grade. I'm just gonna have them upload it to D2L. I personally give them feedback weekly on their logs. That's up to you. I would hope you would give them some feedback. They should hear from you, but it's up to you. And then the last thing is their portfolio. That's standard. Don't expect them to hand you a 3-ring binder. So it's an electronic portfolio. You can have them email you all of the documents. I'm going to have them upload it to D2L. So their logs should be uploaded. I want them all in one document. They're going to upload it to D2L. The critique paper, they write a paper. They can upload it to D2L or email it to you. And then their case study. They can upload it or email it to you. Now, again, with the case studies, we've had this problem for years. Some sites do not allow our students to do case studies. You have to give them an alternative assignment. They have to fulfill 15 points of a portfolio. So you can give them an article to read and write a paper about it. You can have them do a quick PowerPoint presentation. You can assign them a fake person. You can create a fake case study for them. Someone, you know, John Doe, Jane Doe, you can send that to them. But they have to do something that is equivalent to a case study if their site does not allow them to follow someone. And that's their portfolio. So we do have rubrics now. We have, yay, we finally have rubrics for all portions of the portfolio. I'm going to upload my rubrics to D2L so they can see them. I believe I already sent you the rubrics. Use those rubrics. We need to make sure everything's standard, right? You know, one student shouldn't be getting an A for a crappy portfolio when another student's getting a C for an excellent portfolio. So we have to have it standard. All portions of the portfolio have rubrics. I don't know if you want me to share those rubrics, but I sent them to you. Use them. They're wonderful. We have to thank Selene. She did a nice job. Thank you, Selene, for putting those rubrics together. So any questions about that? And the rest of the syllabus is all the blah, 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 blah stuff. Go ahead, Mitch.
Quick question. Do we need to have them uploaded to D2L or could they email us all the stuff
That's
directly?
up to you. That's up to you, right?
Thank
so
you.
if you have like 20 interns, I would probably create your D2L page, but if you don't like D2L, they can email you. You just have to make sure they know that. So on your syllabus, like that's a syllabus template. Don't change the basic stuff, but little individual things that you want specifically for your interns, put it in a different color, put it on the syllabus so they know. Now, guys, you do have to communicate with your interns soon. I know we're on winter break, and I know technically you're not supposed to be working, but they're already emailing me, and they should be emailing you, right? So if you haven't already, maybe, you know, now or right after New Year's, send them a quick email. I'm your 490 professor. Let's have a Zoom meeting on yada, yada to cover yada, yada. So communicate with them soon, sooner than later. So that's a face-to-face, right? It's not as much work on you. Communicate with them weekly, make sure they know what they're doing, and make sure you're sending the site supervisors the link. Okay, go ahead.
Quick, those of you that are going to use D2L, I was putting my my D2L page together for interns and looked at my class list and realized that I have like 11 extra interns in my D2L shell compared to what my faculty center is showing. So I put a ticket in for D2L. So just as fair warning, if you're using D2L and you're missing some students, they may be in my course instead. I'm not quite sure what happened.
Good. Okay. Now, what's going to be very different is if you have a fully remote student. So and Karen and I and Craig really tried as hard as we could to put like all remote students into sections. So I'm hoping that a few of you just have a full section of remote students. You might have both. And I'm going to tell you right now, having both different types of students, it sucks. It's a lot of work. You got to kind of remember who's what and what's going on. But it is the way it is, and you can blame COVID. So I'm going to share that syllabus with you if I can find it. I have so many things open right now. I have no idea. where it is. Okay. So this is the remote internship syllabus. And the only way you can tell at the top is I wrote the word remote. So you can change it however you want. I would put your information up top, put your Zoom information up there as well. And there should be a statement somewhere on the syllabus that this syllabus is only for students who are completing it remotely in the spring semester. Students talk, right? And if you have 2 roommates and one is face-to-face and one is remote, they're gonna, you know, my syllabus is different, right? So they do have to know that there are different syllabi. So this is only for the ones doing a completely remote internship experience. And this information is the same, except, you know, it says that, you know, you are a professional as well, right? So they're gonna take everything they've learned throughout their 4 years at Westchester, and they're going to work with you because you're also professional in our field. It just has a few extra things in here because it's fully remote. Still the same number of hours. And this is where things get very different. So if you have remote interns that are doing a 3-credit internship, they are going to be required to complete 65 hours of mandatory assignments. These are things you are going to assign to them, no changing it. They have to do 65 hours of it. The other 60 hours will be additional assignments that they get to pick from. So they've got mandatory, they've got additional. These numbers change if you have a student who's doing a 4-credit, 5-credit, 6-credit. So just double check, always double check what your student is signed up for because things change. Now, I put in here that your intern may choose to fulfill more internship hours by completing extra mandatory assignments and less additional. But the only way they can do that is if they get approval from you. So if you don't want them to do that, just say no. If you do want to allow them that, then that's nice, but you can say no. So this is where things are going to get split. So the intern is required to complete their mandatory hours under the supervision of you. Now, if you have PT, OT, or Cairo students, they are going to use a software called SimuCase. Our department will purchase SimuCase for all remote interns, so they don't have to pay for it. We have to work with Karen so that Karen can talk to SimuCase and get all the appropriate accounts. And you need an account. If you have remote interns, you're going to need an account to SimuCase. And they're going to use this simulation software to complete all mandatory hours. It's an incredible software. I love it. But there's pros and cons. It is primarily an OT simulation software. It's primarily a lot of occupational therapy. They're adding more physical therapy ones. But for the most part, it's really great for OT students. It's lacking in others. Now, they are required to complete 12 simulations, 12 assigned simulations, and any observations that are in the document. That will give them their 65 mandatory hours. Well, it comes out to 66, but whatever, it's 65 hours. Now, all of these are assigned by you. And you can figure out how you want them to do it. I want them to upload their reports to D2L every Sunday before midnight. If you want them to email it to you, that's fine. So I'm going to pause for 1 second and just show you what a SimuCase report looks like. So if I share my screen, and we can thank Dr. Kim Hunsu. He did a really nice job last summer putting this all together. So here's just case 1. So the first simulation they have to do is they have to watch Damon. Damon is the patient. And they're going to do Damon's assessment. So it's an occupational therapy session that they watch. They have to do a summary of the simulation, quick blurb. They have to do a summary of some 5 observations. They have to describe what they learned. And then on this report, there's a second case, right? So this would be their second case, and this case is Danny. It's his assessment, and this is a physical therapy one. summary of simulation, summary of observations, and same thing. And then after here, this is their log. This would be a log. So instead of them doing a weekly log about what they learned, they're doing a log about what they learned from each simulation. And so we have picked things that we want them to look at. So for Damon, they're looking at how he does his bathroom, how he modifies his bathroom routine. There's something about Damon's fine motor activities. There's something about how Damon can prepare his whole meals, how he navigates the bathroom, his medication. And then there's different ones for Danny. So Danny's a whole other one, gait, range of motion. So things that we thought would be what they might see in their internship. So they want to put the date that they worked on it. They should put the time they start the simulation. We want to kind of gauge how long it's taking them to do this, the time they finish it, and they should be very descriptive about what they're seeing. Now, let me point out that this has two simulations on this document, right? These were prepared in the summer. And summertime, it's a 5-week internship. It's 5 weeks. So we basically have two observation in these reports. You can split this up. You can assign them one of these each week. So you can give Damon the first week, and then you could cut this out and give Danny to them the second week. And then you can send them their next simulation. They have to do a total of 12. So we have 12 already picked out that we think are good. If you want to go in to Simucase and find other ones, you can certainly assign them other people. But we kind of picked 12 that we think our students can handle. Now, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and I'm going to try to show you Simucase. I don't know if I can do that, but sorry. Where would it be? Hold on, give me a sec. Okay, so when you get a Simucase account, it's www.simucase.com. There will be a big button up here. You will, once you've got your account, you'll sign in. So you'll have a username and password. Now, what's great about Simucase is you can easily search for simulations, and so can your students. So if I just click on search simulations, I can type in what type of thing I'm looking for. Am I looking for physical therapy? Am I looking for occupational therapy? And then if they know the patient's name, which let's say is Damon, and hit search, it will pull up Damon's assessment. So it won't say restart, it'll say start. I've already done it. But it tells you briefly about the situation. He has multiple sclerosis, he's receiving occupational therapy, and they recommend that it should take a student 60 minutes to go through this whole thing. And so they will go through these simulations, watching videos, watching how a therapist works with them. It's pretty incredible. So hopefully we can get you onto Simucase soon so you can start going through this. But if let's say you want to pull up physical therapy and maybe you want to look for Danny, which was the second one assigned, I hit search. Danny, he's 47. Now careful, it's got his assessment, but then it's got his intervention. So they have to make sure they're doing the right one we assign. But it tells you a little bit about, you can start it and go through it. So the software is incredible. My students in the summer loved it. I do have a tutorial. So I went on video Zoom with someone from Simucase, and my students were at that Zoom meeting, and I recorded it. So I'm going to send you the Simucase tutorial. If you want to arrange your own Zoom meeting with someone from Simucase, I'm sure they'd be happy to do that with you. It's a quick tutorial. It goes through like how to navigate the software. It tells you how to kind of navigate you can even go in and see how long the students took. So you can double check. If a student says they did it in like half an hour and you're like, oh, that's rather quick, you can kind of go in on the back end and see how long they're doing these things. Now, I do want to point out that they're going to send you these documents because we need proof that they're doing something. It's not your job to grade it. You know, when they do a face-to-face internship, they're not being graded everything they do. They're going there, they're observing. So these simulations are really for them to observe and kind of in the back of their mind do the best they can to analyze what they're seeing. So you're not grading any of this, but you do have to double check that they are completing it and submitting it. So you can have them submit it to you through email weekly. You can have them put it on D2L, and really you need to go in, open it up and kind of look and see. You know, I made a few comments like, your description of Danny's video was too brief. Like, really, tell me more. What else did you see? What did you notice? What might a therapist notice? So I made comments like that, but I wasn't like, this is, you know, a D or this is a B. I just said, oh, nice job. You know, think a little bit more like a therapist versus a strength and conditioning person. So any questions about the mandatory assignments? There are 12. I'm going to send you all the reports, but remember there's like 2 people on each report because this was from summer. So you can split it up. You can upload them to D2L ahead of time and, you know, open them up to students one by one. You can just put all 12 on D2L and say, by the end of the semester, you have to do all 12 of these. It's up to you to figure out how you want to assign them. So any questions about the mandatory assignments? It's all through SimuCase.
Do we, who do
Yeah.
we have to, do we have to email somebody to get access to SimuCase for ourselves and our students, or how does that work?
So in the past, Karen has contacted SimuCase and purchased the number of accounts.
Mhm.
And then Karen had, SimuCase has always sent us something like this. So it'll say, the promo code. So that your student will go to www.simukase, they'll click join now, and then they're going to enter this code.
Okay.
This is not for spring though. So I'm hoping that Karen, if Karen wants to unmute herself and chime in, I'm hoping Karen can get us all of our accounts and you an account. Yes, Karen? She's okay.
Okay, I can. I need to know who's PT, who's OT.
Actually, Karen, in the past, you needed to know that, but
Okay.
they're all doing, it's the same software, and we're going to assign them all kind of the same one. So I don't think it matters anymore. It doesn't, unless SimuCase really wants to know, I would just say they're all OT.
Okay, okay. So
Could I ask you a question?
Yes.
Could you just tell us how many people are in charge of students who do this remotely?
I don't have that list. Craig does.
Wait, can we
wait,
get back to
what
getting
are you
access to
asking
SimuCase?
exactly?
I think she wants to know all the interns or who was.
No. How many of the professors are in charge of supervising the remote students? How many professors?
It varies.
So
You have all of you. You may have just all remote, or you may have a mix of remote and virtual and face-to-face.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, if I know I have remote, if I know I don't have remote, then I can focus a little better. Are you saying that I have to focus on both, but I might only have one? You know what? If I deal with my students, they want to know at the beginning what they're into, and I want to know at the beginning what I'm into, and I do not want to find out later. That's why I'm in this meeting today, because I want to know today.
So please email me your list of interns and I will tell you today.
Great, thank you.
But Karin, also realize that that may change. You may have a student that's face-to-face, and then in February, their site gets closed, and then they have to switch over to virtual.
So that's what I'm about to tell you. So Karin, I understand your frustration. We're all frustrated. But Melissa brings up a good point. I'm going to guarantee that if you're assigned a bunch of face-to-face, they're going to end up, a few of them, being remote.
We are facing 2021, and guess what we're getting? We're getting a vaccine, and it's not going to go backward. We're going forward.
I understand. But literally in the past week, I've had 6 students email me that now their site is no longer willing to work with them. That's the reality. I get you, but I'm telling you the reality here. So some students, unfortunately, in the middle of this semester will have to go remote. What I'm going to tell you is we're not going to get them Simucase. We're not going to give them Simucase, but they are going to have to do additional assignments, which I'm about to get to.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay.
I know you're frustrated. Guess what? So am I. So if you don't want my help right now, you can leave the meeting, but I'm trying to help you.
Good.
Okay?
Great.
Thank you. So I'm going to go back.
Wait,
Go
real
ahead.
quick. So end of the Simucase thing here. Karen, what do you need from me?
I just need a number from Missy on how many Simucases I need to order.
I can give you a number, but as far as, the faculty, again, I sent Craig what I sent and he could have changed that. Right? I sent Craig exactly who should get remote students, who should not get remote students, but I don't know if that was I don't know how it was assigned. So I do not have access to all of these people's interns. I don't. I only have access to mine. So if you send me a list of every section of internships and the names of the students in them, I can contact all of you by the end of this week, but I don't have access to any of that. But if you guys want to email me and say, these are my student interns, can you tell me which ones are 100% remote? I can do that. I can look right on my approval site and I can tell you which ones are remote. There's some though that literally this past week had a face-to-face and now they're going remote. So I guarantee you, some of you are going to have remote and they're going to, and this is the best thing to do. Email your interns right now and say, what is your plan? Are you face-to-face? Are you remote? That's the easiest thing to do. But if you want to go the easy route, then contact me.
No, Missy, you're right. I mean, the best way to do it is to email your interns and ask them. I've had 2 out of my 12 in the past week just change from an in-person to a remote because they don't feel comfortable and their site shut down. So I think it's easiest for everybody if everybody just emails their own interns. It's the only way to know what's happening right at this moment in time.
That is absolutely the best thing.
Yeah,
At this point, when they get back to you, once everyone has gotten back to you, send that number to Karen and saying, I'm going to need six Simucase software. Now, your remote students are not allowed to start until the semester starts. So we have plenty of time. We've got plenty of time to get this going if you contact your interns sooner rather than later. But again, if a student isn't communicating with you, that's not your fault. If they're not checking the email, that's not your fault. But then they're just going to have to wait and wait and wait to start because they didn't check their email. So that's not on you. It's on them.
I would like to know the number of how many I need, so I'm not calling up constantly adding more to it.
I know. And so again, right, Karen, some people straight off the bat said they're doing remote. Some people did face to face and now things are changing.
Exactly. I'm just saying, as of right now.
I can tell you as of right now, definitively who absolutely needs it. Some people might get added a little later and if you have to contact Simucase in February, just because they're remote, they could also do the additional assignments in January, right? And if we don't have access to Simucase, then they don't get Simucase until February or March, whatever.
Could you maybe give us just a general idea out of the 107, 50 are remote or 80 are remote? Or
Give me 1 second to look.
Yeah, just, is it half? Is it 80? It gives us a better idea.
What if I scanned, because,
I would say 45 are absolutely remote.
Okay, so it's like half, a little more. Yeah, thank you.
I know this is like going backwards in time, but when I see where that Missy has approved the internships, I still print it out because I still like to see the hard copy. So if you know your students, I could always scan you their paperwork and it'll tell you right then and there if it's remote or.
I can look on the site too, but
okay.
Again, the easiest way is to hear directly from your student what they signed up for. Mitch, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Missy. Where do we get the SimuCase reports that you showed us?
So I'm going to send them to you.
Okay,
So
great.
after this, I'm going to send you probably a couple of emails with documents in them. I'm hoping that you, I don't know, pin it, save all that stuff to your desktop, but understand that there are 5 reports because there's multiple simulations in each report. This was from summer. I'm sorry I didn't go through and split it out for you. I didn't have interns last semester, but you can keep it in those 5 reports and make them do 2 a week or whatever. But there will be 12 that I'm sending you. I'm also going to send you additional ones because some students are doing a 4-credit internship. They can do more mandatory. They're going to have more SimuCase. Now, if a student wants to do even more, like our students fell in love with the software. So if you have a student was like, I really like SimuCase, can I do more hours on SimuCase? Then you can assign more people. There's lots of simulations. So feel free to look through it and assign whatever you want.
And should these reports be used in place of the logs as
Yes.
part of the
So
portfolio?
if I go back to the report, you know, I would have them upload this whole thing. So here's Ray. Ray, he was OT, and then Emma was OT. I wanted this whole document through email, but then for their logs, I only kind of wanted this part of it. So I'd kind of had them cut this out and put all their logs together. So this table was more of their log. And you could have them even comment below that, you know. I mean, it's hard. It's simulations. So they can't talk too much about obstacles. Like, is there really an obstacle to a simulation? Nope. They log in, they go through it.
So you're saying that if a student is OT, that like in the report, they could do both OT and PT stuff? Or
yes. So for all of our students, I gave a mix of both. So even if there are pre-PT, now, like I said, this is primarily an OT software. This is the best we've got, the closest thing we've got to like real life things. So this is not perfect, right? What's perfect is a face-to-face internship. This is not perfect, not even close to perfect. I assigned a few OT stuff, I assigned PT stuff, and I didn't care what my student was, they were gonna do the same thing. If you wanna split it out and make more work for yourself, go ahead.
No, I think it's a good idea. I just wasn't sure.
They have to do 12 simulations to get the 65 hours. Other questions?
Yeah. So previously, there were less than 12 simulations for PT, but now we have 13 simulations for PT. So you can give them, like you can give like all, PT student all PT simulations. So
yes, you can change it up. What they have to be assigned are 12 total simulations. However you want to assign them, when you want to assign them, how you want to collect their report of it, I'm leaving that up to you.
I actually don't think that it's a bad idea for them to do a little bit of mix. So thank you.
Now, if you have students who are exercise specialists, so if you have personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, nutrition students, then they are not using SimuCase. That would not benefit them. So they are required to complete 2 plans. They have to do a pretty lengthy report, an annual exercise plan for clients and our sports teams. So one whole plan is equal to 30 hours of work. Then they have to present their plans to you. So the presentation is 5 hours of work. So the 2 plans, the 2 presentations is going to equal 65 mandatory hours. In the summer, I had my student work on his first plan. I got weekly reports from him. So just a blurb. This is what I worked on. This is how I did it. That was his weekly communication with me. He was sharing pieces of his plan with me each week so I can make sure he was on track. And then when his plan was complete, he uploaded the plan. I looked it over. And then we scheduled a Zoom meeting for him to present it to me. So he gave me 2 presentations. So the first plan is, you know, a healthy client or a clinical client, and this is everything they need to include. So the person should have a different goal. My summer student, he was actually doing personal training through Zoom. So he was actually using his clients as part of his. So if If your student is kind of clueless, you can assign them a make-believe person, like assign them a specific person. Say, this is John Doe. Her goal is to lose weight. She has arthritis, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, they can do a plan for that person. So there's a lot of things. They have to do like a mock client interview. They have to do testing protocol. They have to do pretty much all of this in their plan. And then this is a little specific to strength and conditioning coaches. So they would do a plan for an individual sport. One plan must be for a special population athlete. So same type of thing. That is their mandatory work. So any questions about the exercise specialist students? No simulcase. Do you have to grade these reports and presentations? No. Do you have to sit through a presentation, 2 of them? Yes. So you can do a Zoom meeting. You can have them pre-record it and send you the recording. Completely up to you, but you have to view it and you have to give them feedback. So my student, he did a really nice job, but he didn't touch too much upon what the person struggled with. So like if he had a patient with arthritis, he didn't include that too much in the plan. And so I was curious. I'm like, oh, this person's going to complain of her wrist hurting. How are you going to modify that? And so that was some of the things I asked him during his presentation that maybe, I mean, he glossed over it. So it's up to you, but that's what they are required to do. So any questions about those mandatory hours? Can you tweak it a little bit? Sure. You know, you have your academic freedom as their professor to tweak a little bit, but you know, we have to standardize internship. No questions about that. Okay, well then the additional assignments, we talked about these before. So in addition to the mandatory assignments, they have to do additional academic assignments. They get to pick from these. So we have choices that are worth 10 hours of work. And we have choices that are worth 20 hours of work. And they have to complete these and submit them to you through email or D2L. Again, you don't have to physically grade them, but you have to give them feedback. So students love, love, love the brochures. So students love to do a brochure. I had students who loved to do the workout video, which was awesome because I learned some new things, right? So they get to pick. And if you want, you can make sure that they tell you before they're doing it. So I had my students say, I'm going to do a brochure and I'm also going to do this. So just so I knew where they were, but it's up to you. And they have to do 60 hours from all those choices. So questions about that? So this is their work. You're not grading any of it. You're checking it. You're giving feedback. Now, they still have to do everything else. So they're still going to have to do a portfolio. So if you go down here, the evaluation that we talked about, guess what? You're going to evaluate them. They don't have a site supervisor. They have you. So during the internship period, you will evaluate their work 2 times. You're going to use the same Qualtrics survey. And it's tough to do. And there's some questions that you're going to have to click NA, right? Were they on time to work? They're not going to work. So don't put anything, just put NA. Like that doesn't apply to them. How were they with injury? Well, they're not dealing with that. It's remote. So again, some things you can answer, some things you can't. If you can't answer, just click the doesn't apply NA button. And you got to evaluate them twice. That's part of their grade. They have to email you. So you can have them email their logs to you, their blurbs, their paragraphs. They have to communicate with you weekly. You have to know where they are, what they're doing. And then they do have to do a portfolio, same thing. All of their logs, a critique paper. This is going to be harder for them. They have to evaluate the internship experience. So their papers will be a lot about simulcase or about their plans. And they also have to do a case study. So I told them to follow one simulation or one of their annual plans and write a case study about that. So they picked like Ray and they wrote me a big case study about Ray. So same thing, we have to keep it standard. Everything else is standard. So Two different syllabi.
Missy, I have a quick question.
Yep.
If we have remote students, then in their evaluation, Roman numeral 2 and Roman numeral 3A are basically the same, correct? When they're doing the weekly logs, because we're also acting as that, how are they different?
So again, so for my SimuK students, all I had them do was to email me that table.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
their
for
log.
exercise science or STEM
Exercise science, I had my student email me a paragraph specifically about what they worked on each week.
Okay.
So this week I created a PAR-Q for my fake patient,
Mhm.
and they filled out the PAR-Q and we went over it.
So how is Roman numeral 2 different from 3A?
I don't know. What am I looking at? What do you mean? What am I looking at?
When you're showing us our grading rubric and everything, 2 is like, would normally be your weekly log to your site supervisor. 3A would be to us, correct?
No, so no matter what, the logs always go to you. Our students never give logs to their site supervisor.
Okay, so they're not communicating. So what's the difference between the two?
I'm not quite sure what you are asking me. So I guess
Well,
I don't have this syllabus memorized when you're saying Roman numeral. So you want to know the difference between weekly emails and logs.
yeah,
Okay, so a weekly email is literally an email to you saying, hey, how you doing? This is what I worked on.
okay,
I usually have them attach their log. So if they're face-to-face, they attach that log, and that's their communication with me. If it's a remote student, I have them attach the table. If it's SimuCase, that's their communication with me. Or I have them email me a blurb about what they worked on with their plan. I write back to them. I always write back to my students and say, thank you so much for your log. Go through your spelling and grammar's horrible, so double check that. Add a little section about what classes, like I give them feedback about what they should fix.
okay.
You don't have to do that. Now their logs, again, I don't really grade the weekly logs they send me. I'm just making sure they're in communication with me. But I do kind of give them feedback. And so when they're putting their logs in their portfolio, I've kind of seen them already.
Right.
But everything should, if the things I told them to fix and they didn't fix that, well, then I take points off because I'm like, hey, I told you to fix this, you didn't do it.
Okay,
If
I get it.
you made all the corrections, then that's really quick for me to grade. I've already seen them.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Just grade them.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions you have? Now, again, I hope that you have a bunch of interns that are face-to-face and that they're all OT. And I hope you might have a section of interns that are all remote and all OT. I don't know how that shaked out. Like Craig, Karen, and I tried to do that. But some of you needed more interns than others. So you might have a big section of face-to-face. I would, if you can create 2 D2L, if you can contact D2L and say, I want all of these interns in one section, then you can put all the remote stuff on there so there's no confusion. And then if you could put your other interns in another section on D2L, that's all face-to-face, then there's no confusion. That was my biggest problem in the summer. I had a mix of everything and they're like, what's going on? And so I had to split them into different sections on D2L. And that's just a conversation with D2L support, and they can do that for you. If you don't like using D2L, then you just have to be very clear in all of your emails with what's going on. Now, like I said, you might have a student who's face-to-face, and then all of a sudden they stop going. Then don't ask Karen for SimuCase. It's too late. If they have 80 hours and they still need more hours, just give them those assignments. So hold on to the remote syllabus just so that you can copy and paste in an email. Okay, here are choices that are 10 hours. Here are choices at 20 hours. Pick from these to make up your missed hours. Like that's what we did last spring. Remember last spring, our students it was into March, and then all of a sudden everything went remote. So we can still utilize that now. If at any time they can't go to their site, maybe they're sick, someone in their family's sick, maybe they have to quarantine, maybe the site just says, nope, no more students. You can't just drop the student, right? You have to give them something else to do. So any questions? I feel like I've already taken up too much of your time. Mitch?
Previously, we had official documentation forms for pre-PA, PT, and OT. Do they still exist for the students to download if they use them for grad school applications and stuff like that?
That is like stopped a long time ago. Like we used to have where they could fill out how many hours they did. I don't even know if that's on the website anymore.
It's not. I checked.
We've never collected them. We've never, I mean, that was just for a student to kind of keep track.
Okay.
I just found my students to keep track in their head and on their resume.
All right, thank you.
But we don't have that.
Missy, you said that remote students can start on the first day of the semester, but in-person students, are they allowed to start on Monday?
So technically in the past, and there's been issues about this, I know. Have I read the CBA? No, so I don't know. But in the past, our students that are face-to-face are they in the past have been allowed to start January 2nd. But with the caveat, and I told every single one of them through email, I'm sure they didn't read it, they must contact you before they start. So if a student's starting on January 2nd or 3rd, and they haven't contacted you, those hours don't count. I would say, sorry, I'm glad you worked, but I'm not accepting those because you didn't communicate with me that you were starting. So I like to kind of cut that off as soon as possible. I just emailed my 2 student interns, hey, when are you starting? And we need to meet before you start. And I know it's winter break, so I can't answer any of those questions about the fact that we let them, I mean, in the past we let them start early because normally they have a bunch of other classes. And if they can kill a bunch of hours before classes start, that's helpful to them. If that's all I can say. I got nothing else on that one.
No, that's great.
Sorry.
Missy, I have to jump off the call. Sorry.
If you have any questions, Brian, just email me, text me, whatever.
Okay, thanks.
Promise to send you all of this crazy stuff, the tutorial about Simulcase. I'll send it all. Hopefully you don't lose the emails.
Okay, thank you. See ya.
Yep. Other questions?
Miss, who would do the midterm and final evaluation on a remote student? Would that be?
The professors, they're professors.
Yes, okay.
You guys have to email you their progress, right? So I always had one student who on their logs and reports for Simulcase was very brief. And every week I said, okay, give me more. And they never did. So of course I factored that into my evaluation. They don't really listen. They didn't listen to feedback because they weren't improving what they were writing. So, I mean, it's going to be very hard to evaluate them. Just answer what you can. And luckily, there's a lot of open-ended questions that you can kind of clarify. Well, this student was remote, so this is as much as I can evaluate them. Bye, Janet. Thank you. It's tough. So, and we're not going to go out of our way to create a whole new remote evaluation because it's a standard class. It's for accreditation. They all have to be evaluated the same. So just do the best you can. Hopefully, like Karin said, there is a vaccine. So hopefully this is our last semester of remote options. If you guys don't have anything else.
Karin, you still here, Karin?
I'm here.
From what I'm looking at, all your kids, unless things change because of COVID, are remote.
Thank you. That's very nice to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Missy, quick question. If it's, you saw the emails going back and you responded for, I think it was Jillian.
Yes.
If I have other sites that students are going, can I offer those sites or should she move into virtual or could she move into a different face-to-face? Is it too late?
Well, if a student is picking a new site, they have to submit a new internship application. We have to make sure we have a contract with that site. They have to send me new documents. I have to contact Karen to get things. It's not too much, I guess, switching around, but she would have to contact you that, hey, your person has a new site. So is it doable? Yes. Is it Do they have to do more work, the student? Yes, they're gonna have to fill out a new attestation agreement. They're gonna have to submit a new application. Now, it might make things easier, like if the site is already approved and the site actually wants more students, then that's quick and easy because there's no contract that we have to establish. It would be pretty quick. But again, it's, you know, we already have students that have switched. It gets a little tricky on what I'm seeing on the back end, but we can make it work if she wants to find a new site. So to all of your students.
Thank you very much.
Other questions you guys have? It's no fun, I know, but we have to give them a wonderful capstone experience that we always have. So we're gonna do the best we can.
I just have one more question. Will the students automatically get the CMU case, or would
No.
you have to ask Karen? How
However you want to do it, like if you know you have all remote students, you need to email them saying, here's the syllabus. And then in your email, I would attach the PDF file that, like I would, once we get it, so you know, be patient, give Karen the opportunity to reach out to SimuCase, but I would just attach this. So here is how you get SimuCase, go here, type in the code. And then I would also send them my tutorial video if you like it. If you don't like the tutorial video, you can reach out to someone at SimuCase. I can give you the email.
That's fine. That's fine.
And you can sit in with, make it a mandatory meeting. Say, you are all my interns. It's this, you have to attend this mandatory meeting with SimuCase because they basically explain how to use the software. Because I am not an IT person. So if my students.
Okay, so if I give them this information, Karen will make sure that they have the account. When will the students have that account ready then?
Be patient. Karen's going to reach out to SimuCase and ask for 40 SimuCase accounts. SimuCase is going to email her PDF that says Westchester 21 or something. She will send it to you. Karen, this is how your students get SimuCase.
Oh, okay.
You send that to your students, and then it's your student's job to register for the account.
Right, so we will have that before the semester starts, basically.
We'll have that as soon as we can get in touch with SimuCase and get the accounts.
Okay.
Karen, or not Karen, Karen, please speak up if I'm speaking out of line, since this is what you do, not me. Other questions? All right, well, you know, I'm going to be around all semester long. Unfortunately, I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck at my house. So if you have questions, reach out to me. I might not get back to you right away because I'm trying to take a break too, but I will do my best to get back to you.
Corin,
That's all I got.
I am seeing one of your students that must have got switched into your section. So you have actually one student that is face to face.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to know the name of that student?
Do you have it?
I did. What the hell did I just do with it? Oh, wait, I put it back in the pile. Last name is Middleton.
Oh, I know her.
Okay.
Great.
Kayla,
Yeah, I know her. Great, thank you.
she took forever to find a site. I sure hope her site doesn't drop her. All right, I'm done.
A quickie, the information sheets that we used to get, we're not getting them, right? We just get that
The
stuff from you.
information sheet, so yeah, no, it is right, everything's electronic. So when Karen used to just put like the sheets in your mailbox of all the stuff,
Yeah.
Karen said she still does that. So if you want that, I'm sure Karen can do that for you. I don't want to give her more work, but
No, don't need it.
might
Just
be able
double
to.
checking whether I needed to run over to campus to pick anything up.
I can also actually I download everything into an Excel file. So if you tell me your students, I can just send you all their information real quick in like an Excel sheet.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I still print out things. I'm still a paper person. So, so if you need something, I have it.
So I think the hardest part right now is because this is so fluid, while we think we know how many simu cases we need, we don't truly know. So we might know the 45 for sure because they didn't even attempt to find a site. But some even in this past week have switched, like Jillian might be switching right now into remote. So we would have to get her a SimuCase account. So it's going to be very fluid and it's frustrating. We just have to go with the flow and do the best we can.
So Miss, you'll
I'm going to email you. I'm going to email you a number of how many SimuCase accounts we need right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When you contact them, I would just say
there may be more.
Just say we might need more, and will this code make up? You know, like maybe they can give us 5 extra ones just ahead of time, and if we don't use them, we don't use them.
Well, which they had said to me before when I've had to add people, it's still the same code.
Yeah. So again, we just need a code and say we're probably going to need roughly 45 to 50 accounts, and bill us later. I don't know. I have no idea.
They bill you, and then when you add, they bill you again.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's going to be too bad. But like I'm saying, if a student in February has to switch, you know, we'll make the best judgment call. Should we really give them SimuCase or should they just do additional assignments? I think maybe they can just do additional assignments. If let's say they only got 5 hours of work face-to-face, well then yeah, maybe we should get them SimuCase. So it's gonna be extremely a fluid situation. And if your student is eager, because I know students are eager and they don't want to wait for anything, just give them an assignment to do. Like, okay, this week, do a PowerPoint presentation, or here's an article, read it, you know, just give them something to do. And while we figure things out with SimuCase. And then Karen, you'll get the faculty codes too, right? So that the faculty are gonna need accounts for SimuCase too.
Yeah.
The ones who don't already have it. So I know Hansu has it already. I already have an account, but for the faculty who are brand new to this, they're going to need SimuCase accounts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the lady, I can't think of her name, will send me everything.
Okay. So I have to meet with Dr. Reed real quick, but when I'm done meeting with Reed, I'll shoot you guys some emails with some documents. Okay. You'll have it by the end of the day. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year's. Thank you, Missy. This was
You're
great.
welcome. Sorry, that was so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
Missy.
Yep.
Bye-bye.